everyone, and welcome to Kick the Cool. In a giant sea of cool podcasts, you found the one that kicks the cool to the curb every single time, and it's a great place to be. I am your big little brother, Tone.
And I am your little brother, Wopsle.
And I'm your big sister, Shishi.
And this is the podcast that gives you the reviews you didn't know you needed. What's up, my nerds?
What's up?
What is up?
What's up?
What's up, guys?
Hi.
Guys, check this out. I bit my tongue.
Again?
No. Oh, yes, again. I'm constantly biting it because I did it once, and now it's out of control.
I'm sorry.
That's the bad part with biting a mouth-adjacent thing, is that then you keep on biting it over and over and over.
I was trying to eat something with my bitten tongue, and I then bit my lip.
Aww.
So now I have a tongue problem and a lip problem, and when I talk, it kind of sounds like this. I kind of like this.
Okay.
Okay, now that's an improvement for the podcast. That is...
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
This is me, and it's kind of like that.
Nice.
Listen, every podcast has this smooth-talking voice that sounds good. It's like pleasant to your ears. And we could be the one that does something different.
Yeah, just roll
Oh,
it,
you
man.
mean like the opposite?
That has like this
Yeah.
Daffy Duck kind of sounding character.
It could be like maybe we could just, the smooth voice is not in right now. You got to go with the
That's
grating, annoying voice. That will get
That's
the
right.
listeners flocking to us.
Are you saying that my voice is annoying?
Not at all. Yeah, no.
No.
Oh. You guys are both saying that. Listen, here's the deal. I have to over-enunciate and move slowly when I'm talking, because if I don't, I'm going to trip up on my tongue. It's going to sound like this. So
Hey,
I just want everyone to be ready.
if you bite your tongue on air, you have to leave it in because that's comedy gold right there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
He hurt himself. Yeah.
Yeah, slapstick
I love
is
it.
the highest form of comedy.
People
right?
getting hurt is pretty universally funny.
I'm already telling you there will be a time in this podcast where you hear me start talking and then I'm going to go, ow, ow, ow. That's going to happen, guys.
And then we will laugh.
Yes, and then that's your cue. Have you ever bitten anything? Like, have you ever? And it's weird because, and then I have to podcast, and so I've never done this before.
Mm-hmm.
Had to podcast with a gigantic tongue problem.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever bitten your tongue and then had to speak or anything like that?
Not that I recall.
No, I'm not much of a tongue biter. I bite my cheek a lot, though. Just like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You said that like it was a preference. I'm not
I'm
really
more-
a tongue biter. I prefer to bite my cheek.
I
Yeah.
don't go that
In
route.
fact, us cheek biters tend to look down upon the tongue biters. It's
That's right.
no. So
What about
cheek-
the lip biters?
Well,
That's even lower on the totem pole.
unless it's like in that come hither style.
Oh,
Come hither
real-
lip biting.
Oh, look at that. Mhm. And
Is that what you did,
I would
Tom?
love to see someone do a come hither bite and then accidentally go down too hard and be like, oh.
I thought you were going to say, Tone, I wonder if you can do a come hither bite of your tongue instead. Like, is there like a
Wow.
playful,
If I had a
like provocative
dollar for
way?
every time.
Every time I've been at the
Yes, there is.
every time I've been at the Golden Corral and someone comes over and be like, "Hey, I noticed you bit your tongue." Couldn't help but notice.
This has gone in a weird direction.
Right? Now I hope that everyone on this podcast is doing this, but I'm now occasionally sticking my tongue straight out and then putting my teeth on it.
Okay, that brings to mind when we were in grade school and they would tell you to stick out your tongue and say, "My mama has a big purse."
Oh, yeah. Or hold your tongue.
Hold
Hold your tongue and
Yeah.
say that is what we used to say.
I forgot about that. That's been a
Never
while.
gets old.
It's pretty good stuff.
Every time someone would say the word purse, I would say, hold your tongue and say that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And they would. And I would laugh. Oh, you said bad words.
People never saw it coming. Like, yeah, of course. It's a normal thing to ask me to hold my tongue and say this thing.
My mom has a big purse. Hi, Mom. You have a big purse.
So gravelly. There's so many little bitty rocks.
Oh, that is what you're hearing is the little particles of my tongue that are flailing around, the little strings and particles of tongue. Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. It's gross, guys. It's bad.
So basically, you shredded your tongue and now you're podcasting. That is dedication.
Thank you very much. You know what I think we should do, though, is let's help people. Okay. I can't be helped. There is no help for my tongue.
You're beyond the point of helping, but our listeners are not.
But my goodness, we can help other people right now. So let's help some people. Let's get going.
Yay.
Wopsle, talk to me, man. What is your review today?
Well, as everyone knows, our first review is always a listener suggested review topic. Just like last week with Eric's topic.
Oh, yeah.
It was clutch, and everyone is wiser now because of that topic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's right.
This week we have it's another topic that we had in the tank from last year. We actually did get a few for this season, but we're gonna still take some of those season ones out of the freezer and thaw them out. This one is from our listener named Amy, and she has some suggestions.
Oh.
And the one that we're gonna go with today, she asked us to review water towers.
Right.
And man, I don't know what to say about these water towers. But I
know.
think
I'm already feeling that.
I do think that it will help so many people. So
If we can just
but it's
mine
not
it,
funny.
if we can mine it for the wisdom in the topic, we are going to help so many people. But the first thing that comes to mind is climbing the water towers,
Yes.
right?
Oh, wait. Are we doing water towers? Is it official? That's what we're reviewing?
We're reviewing water towers. Yes.
Wow. Okay. But yes, so climbing water towers.
Yeah, I grew up to believe that water towers were just structures meant to be spray painted on. It was kind of the place like to really project bad words over the town. That's all that I knew about our water tower growing up in Prague.
Like a lighthouse. Like a lighthouse.
Like a
but instead of a light, a profanity house.
So, is that what you were thinking when you were talking about climbing them? What are you thinking about when you climb a water tower?
I was thinking about...
Well, I have a certain story in mind that I bet she is also thinking of. Sorry to interrupt, but...
Go ahead and tell that story.
Are you sure? Oh, no.
Let's hear it.
You
I don't
tell
have
it.
a story.
You tell
I
it.
just have a feeling. So go ahead. Tell your story.
Oh, okay. Well, one day, we actually, when we lived on Ayers Avenue in Prague, Oklahoma,
we're gonna
we
rock
actually
down to
Ayers
Avenue.
and then we'll take it higher.
Okay, so
Oh no!
Oh,
He's
no.
not happy about it.
No,
no!
he's rocking.
Not Electric Avenue. Oh no! We lived right next to a water tower. Well, not right now, but pretty close. You could see it from the house. And one night, so it was night, and I believe there was like some dew on the ground. And our cousins came over. Now, our cousins are known for being pretty rowdy.
Shout out, cousins.
Hello, cousins. We love you. And I specifically remember Sammy and Joe. Sorry, Al. Sorry, bit my tongue. I specifically remember Sammy and Joe being there, and Sammy had a broken arm in a cast.
Oh, yeah.
And Sammy and Joe decided, we're going to climb this water tower. And Sammy did climb it with a broken arm in a cast, climbed all the way to the top.
What a crazy mofo. Tell you what, they were just such a constant source of adventure, weren't they, growing up?
Oh, man.
I don't think I was there for that, though. I think I heard about it afterwards. Do you remember me being there?
I just remember there's a lot of us kids there, so I assumed you were there. But
maybe I was and not paying attention. That's also possible. Cynthia and I might have been off somewhere.
Well, whenever someone's climbing a water tower and they're like 70 feet in the air with a broken arm, and so they're doing the whole thing with one arm, you tend to pay a little bit more attention.
You know what?
So I
you
bet
saying
you
that brought that feeling of fear to me. I think I was there because I think
we were scared to death.
we were scared to death. Yeah. I couldn't remember if I just heard the story, but now I feel that emotion and I think that is the truth. Yeah.
We were always the wimpier side of the family, but also got drug along to these adventures that we kind of regretted once we were in the middle of, but had to keep going.
Right.
Now, Sherry, did you ever make it to the top of that water tower? Did you ever climb it?
I did not. I think that one time I actually tried to climb it was kind of way too windy, and I weighed about 90 pounds soaking wet. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, no, I was about to get blown off of there. But, that's common. I think that it probably would have gotten windier and windier the higher I got. So I don't think it would ever have been still.
Yeah.
So, no, I chickened out. Is that what you wanted to hear? I chickened out.
Well, no, I'm proud of you.
Proud of you for chickening out.
Yeah, I made it about halfway up one time, and I did this a lot back in the old school preg days. Like a vaguely white car drove by, and I was like, "It's the cops! It's the popo!" And so I was certain I was going to get arrested and thrown in the slammer. So I climbed down so fast, and it was just our neighbor. It was just someone down the street. But,
right. It was actually like a truck or a van, like you said.
Yeah. It was Mr. Greff and his city of Preg truck driving down by our neighborhood.
Well, have you guys been back there in recent years? It seems like every water tower of that type, it had the four legs going up to a big ball, at the top. So it was one of those kinds. But now when I see those kind around, they have big fences around them. Mm-hmm. Probably for that reason, but I haven't seen the Prague one, so I wondered if they got in on it or if they were still letting kids jump up, climb up there and make their mark.
I was going to say, wait, what's crazy is the fact that those ever existed without those fences around them. Like, there was nothing stopping you from walking up and climbing up that tower in Prague.
And
what did they think we were going to do?
It. Yeah, and they did it all the time.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody ever died, so that's the thing. If somebody had died, they would have thrown a fence up. Yeah, but nobody died.
Right.
So.
At some point, they started putting fences around oil derricks and all these oil pumps and all these things. They started putting fences around, and it was kind of like seat belts, right? It was kind of like, yeah, that would have been a good idea a long time ago, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Took us a while to get to this point in the evolution of the safety of the bottom of the water tower.
It's all about how many kids died. We hit the limit. That's the cutoff point. Fence, put a fence up.
We joked about water towers being like a lighthouse for profanity, which sometimes they are. But also, in a good small town, a water tower is like a lighthouse for whatever remotely famous person had ever graced like the grounds of that town. Like they put on the water tower, right? Home of Shannon Miller. I think that was one in Edmond for a long time. Or like
right.
There's the Yukon one has Garth Brooks on theirs. They used to have theirs on there for a while. Isn't it weird that we never put Jim Thorpe on the Prague water tower?
That is very strange.
He's famous enough to make it on a water tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a gigantic parade about him and put a plaque out there where he was raised, and we made a big deal out of it, but just not on the water tower.
Especially because it does seem strange that we didn't do it because they had such a big problem with the devil. Our mascot was the red devil, right? So they put that devil up on the water tower and people didn't like it, but they left it up there and they repainted and made it nice and fresh. And, so apparently sports are more important than history. I mean, who knew?
Who
knew? But I will say, I don't know if you guys remember this, but the Okemah, Oklahoma had two water towers that were quite similar, and one they painted hot on one and cold on the other, and that was a landmark going down I-40 for a long time. They finally had to take them down, but yeah, they were up like that, painted like that for a long time.
I love the question of do you think that someone was sitting there going, now which one is that? I can't.
Is hot on the left or the right?
I can't ever remember. Is that one the? Oh gosh.
Also, here's something I didn't realize that they filled them with pumps. Like the reason they're so high in the air is for water pressure. I think in some part of my mind, I thought that it was opening up and catching the rain. I don't know. It never occurred to me that they were actually pumping water up to this tank. And then it was coming, it just seems counterintuitive when all this rain is falling from the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
Just open up the top of that baby and just fill it up.
That's right.
And then just drink it.
And it would be great to be, yeah.
Birds will be in there. And
Yep.
just like,
Exactly.
Dust, plenty of dust.
right, all the dust.
And then also when it rains, it'll overflow, right? Like
Right.
at some point, it's going to overflow probably.
And if you're
And
climbing
then you
up
can
that
just
puppy,
go run up under there.
if you're climbing up that puppy when it overflows, you better hold on.
That's going to be
that's a good
fun.
deterrent.
That's
right?
right.
Save money
Yeah.
on fence. Yeah.
Well, and I think if you get down to it and you asked Amy why she wanted us to rate water towers, I think it's because that idea that, like you said, Sherry, it's way high up in the air, and no one ever really questioned, why are water towers so tall? And then you realize it's because they pump the water up there, and then the gravity is what gives us water pressure in our houses. But before I
Right.
learned that, I never questioned, why are we storing water so high in the air? What's the purpose?
Up in the sky.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a funny thing that I should have questioned that I never did. Well, water towers. I don't feel like towns have them anymore, right? No new town. No one's making any new water towers.
They're not?
So
Mm.
I don't think so. I think it's all
Well-
pumps and bottled water. It's all Aquafina now.
Or do you think that water towers are going to go away?
That's the question.
Certainly not.
Do you think they're a dying breed?
I think they are. I don't know. Just to come.
Where are we going to put the name of the town?
And all of our curse words.
Yeah.
How are my kids going to learn cuss words? Because I don't know where the water tower is by my house.
Right.
Now you're going to be driving around looking for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe if I find one, I'll post it on our social media. Maybe if you guys see one too, let's put some towers on our social media this week to celebrate the lighthouses of birthplaces of people and middle school cuss words. But
sounds good.
yeah, all right. Well, let's rate then water towers. I think we've proven that we're experts on these water towers.
Yes.
We know
indeed.
quite a bit about them. So, Shishi, what do you rate water towers?
I will rate water towers 1 broken arm. Sammy's broken arm.
Yep.
You rate it specifically Sammy's broken arm. That's good. That's good. Tone, what do you rate water towers?
Oh, I'm going to rate water towers 4 drowned birds.
Oh, man.
That's pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Let's get a drink.
Gotta be honest, Tone, I was going to do drowned birds.
Oh, gotcha.
I was like, there's no way someone else is doing drowned birds.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, I'm going to rate water towers 16 profanity lighthouses.
Oh, that's the best. That's the best. Good job.
Hill Profanity Lighthouse. All right, sounds
Love that
good.
idea.
That was a good topic. We want to thank Amy very much for submitting that topic.
Thanks,
and,
Amy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Amy. So, Shishi, we've helped people quite a bit. How are we going to help even more people than with water towers?
Well, I thought about this a lot because I want this to be an extra helpful episode. So I decided that the best thing I could review today is DVDs. I mean, we need to know about DVDs, right?
Oh, yeah.
DVDs.
Yeah. That's a very good topic.
Thanks for playing along. So, Tone, what do you think about DVDs right off the bat?
The first thing I think about is the gigantic bin at Walmart where there are so many DVDs, and you're like, how are there this many DVDs, and how is it possible that I don't want any of them? What's going on here?
Yeah, no kidding.
And
The level of possibility compared to the level of disappointment is it's not
Yes.
found anywhere on earth other than that bin.
Yeah. I mean, they're only $5 usually, and even that's too much.
Yeah, I'm looking like for a 5 for $5 kind of deal in that bin. I don't need 1 for
I
$5,
know.
but
Yeah, you pick one up and you're like, I would pay $3 for this, but not $5, and you throw it back in. Yeah. Wopsle, what do you think about DVDs?
Man, remember DVD collections? Like you'd proudly display all these epic movies that you have, and I don't have in my entire life a laptop or a DVD player. I don't have any way to play a DVD in my entire life right now.
Wow,
Really?
that's crazy.
I don't have a computer with a disk drive. We don't have a DVD player. We don't even have one unplugged and out in the garage. But yet, guess what? I've got about 80 DVDs proudly displayed in my living room, ready to go.
Remember when we watched this? Remember when we watched this? Now let's go stream it from Netflix.
So, right. Who knew? Is this on Netflix? No. Oh, we can't watch it. We're holding the DVD.
What are you doing today? I'm gonna watch some DVDs. Oh, do you have a DVD player? No, I just watched the outer artwork. I watched I open it up and look at the booklet. I watched that.
I spin it on my finger and let the lasers hit me in the eye.
That's right.
Well, so I remember, I mean, isn't it weird to feel like, okay, we saw the birth of this technology. We were mostly adults when it came out. And now we have seen the death of this technology. And it's only been like, I don't know, it was out for like 20 years probably, until we started moving away. Because I looked online and it said that the technology came out in 95, 96. Which tracks because I got my first DVD from my brother, Tony, and it was Finding Nemo. Remember that?
I do.
Yep. And you know, I had bought my husband at the time a DVD player because I got a really good deal. It was $40. I was so excited about it. I got him that player for Christmas, having no DVDs in the house, just expecting that we would eventually get one. Like, oh, I can't wait until I get a DVD. And then you gave me Finding Nemo for that same Christmas, and so we ended up watching Finding Nemo over and over and over and over and over and over.
A lot, yeah.
And then we got another DVD.
Now I got to ask this: only a select group of people will remember this. Our younger listeners will have no idea what we're talking about, but the gigantic laser disc, the precursor of the DVD, right?
Yes.
Is that a DVD kind of?
It's the same technology. It's just, laser disc, man. We used to rent those.
We watched those in biology. And now looking back, like, why was the science department of a tiny high school in Oklahoma so on board with the freshest technology immediately? It was like laser disc or bust.
You had laser discs?
We did. And then all of a sudden it was like every time McGay would put one of those in the player, we were all just cracking up. Like, look at that big dumb thing.
Right.
So for those who don't know, it's the size of a record album.
Yes.
And for those who don't know what a record album is, it's about a little bigger than a dinner plate.
Right.
Everybody still eats off of plates, right?
No, plates are out.
That's a thing of the past. Dead
Your food
technology.
Is downloaded digitally.
A food USB.
Okay, let's imagine a USB, but like 160 times bigger. That was a plate.
Right.
Then imagine that's a DVD, which you don't know what that is either. Man, it's impossible to explain. There's no way to explain it.
You can't explain it.
I think that we came really close to having gigantic USB ports in all of our computers as the next technology, right? Like, so why do you have? I mean, can you try to pinpoint why you have the DVDs? Is it because I mean, what's going on there?
There's definitely a nostalgia factor there. And I'm not sure if it's nostalgia for the actual movies or if it's nostalgia for a time when I would have watched a DVD. I don't know if it's connection with the technology or a connection with the movies themselves. But, I just sorted them. Literally, last week, I just sorted them. So I have about 40 that I'm getting rid of. I'm taking them and donating them to, Goodwill or something. And there was one season of Seinfeld, 2 seasons of The Office, some TV shows and stuff like that. And then I kept 40 of them. And Tone, I got to be honest. Then I'm asking myself, but why am I keeping these 40?
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, don't
What
you feel
has
like it's
distinguished them between the 40 that didn't make the cut? And I don't have an answer
That's
for
what
that.
I'm trying to
I
figure
don't
out.
have an answer.
I get this because I have cassette tapes still from when I was,
Yeah.
like early 20s. And I'm never going to get rid of them. They are still there, playable if I ever get a cassette player.
A method with
I can
which to
still play them.
Yeah.
So isn't
Mhm.
it nice to have a visual reminder of those times and the tactile feeling of sorting through the things and opening the cases and looking at the art and stuff. That's a thing. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you feel
Yeah,
bad about
well-
it, Wopsle? Don't you feel bad?
No, I feel pretty good about it, but I totally realized the absurdity of sorting my DVDs between a pile I'm going to keep and a pile that I'm not. when there's just no rhyme or reason to it.
Right. there's nothing that makes one of these more important than the other, right?
Yeah.
Well, I knew that DVDs were really obsolete pretty much when I went to Goodwill one day and I saw at least 5 dedicated DVD players. They did nothing else. It was just DVD players on the shelf to be sold for $5 each. That's when I knew
wow.
the technology was going out the window.
Mhm.
So.
$5 for a DVD player.
I know,
It
so
makes
I-
me want one right now.
I bought one, and guess what? It works just fine, except the disc, there's something sticky inside, and the disc gets stuck in there. And I took it apart 3 times before I realized it was never going to stop doing that. So,
right.
So now you're
right.
just like, you
Discount.
better love Little Rascals because that's
In
all it's going to
fact-
be.
Yep.
in fact, that's how I obtained my copy of Guys and Dolls, because that was in there stuck when I got it.
Yeah, DVD players now come with a DVD installed, and it's just that's the only thing you can play on them. It's just yeah.
All right. Well, let's rate this puppy.
Right.
Tone, what do you rate DVDs?
40 useless discs.
Okay. Wopsle, what do you rate DVDs?
I rate DVDs 4 coffee table coasters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to rate DVDs 5 obsolete, abandoned DVD players at Goodwill
At Goodwill.
Yes.
that nobody
Yes.
will
Now,
ever buy.
will we ever see a bin of DVD players as if it were a bin of DVDs?
Goodwill could have done that, I'm sure. If they collected all of them that they get, they could just have a big blowout bin sale of DVDs.
$5 a piece. All right, guys. Well, that was, of course, incredibly helpful. Now everyone knows about DVDs, and so I think it's time for us to get to our sponsor this week. Let's go to our 5-star review. Let's go. All right, everyone. On this week's 5-star review, we are going to give a big shout out and a lot of love to TNT Tires here on Broadway in Seminole, Oklahoma. This is the tire shop where I went just a few days ago and got a flat repair. I would like to, as part of the advertisement for this TNT Tire shop, I would like to go ahead and tell you a story. Is that okay with you guys?
Please do.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Okay. So I called, I needed a flat fixed, and Walmart does not fix flats anymore, is what I understood. And so I, Googled what is the closest tire shop. And it gave me this TNT Tires. And so I called, and here's what happened. A man answers, he says, tire shop. And I said, yes, hi, do you fix flats? Yep. Okay, awesome. How much does it cost? Sir, how much does it cost? Okay, what time do you close? Sir, what time do you close? 5. Okay, well, I guess I'll be down there in a minute. Bye.
Now you got to wonder, is 5 when they close, or is 5 how much a tire costs?
Exactly.
And I'm hoping both.
So-
That's what I'm hoping
Yes.
is it's both.
Yes.
Yes, he just was waiting for you to ask the follow-up question so he could answer them both at the same time.
Right.
It's genius.
There are 4 questions you must ask to get an answer to any one of them. And I will only, this dude understood economy of words, okay? But unlike anyone. I get there. Okay, now this is the greatest part. I get there to the tire shop, and there's a woman behind the counter, and I walk in, and I say hello, and I walk up to the counter, and I said, I need to get a flat fixed. And she says, hold on, have a seat. And so there's a couch, and I go over and sit on the couch. There is a TV up in the corner of the room, and it is playing Mayberry RFD, and it's on silent. She's staring at this TV as if her life depends on it. At some point, she doesn't inform anyone that I'm ready to be helped. At some point, she walks over into the middle of the room, continues to stare at this like it's her favorite episode of television she's ever seen.
But she can't even hear.
She can't even hear it. The sound is off. And she stares at it for probably a good 2 minutes. Then she turns and looks at me as if remembering that I'm there and goes, oh, pull it around over here. And
so she wasn't waiting on someone else, presumably.
That's right. That's right.
Just taking
She
her
was
time.
waiting for Andy Griffith to get
She
to a
was
certain
waiting-
point. in
She
his
had to make
performance.
sure that Don Knotts was not going to do anything unexpected. Okay, that's what. And so I pull it around and they fix the flat and it's all great. But the guy the whole time is like wincing and everything and hurt, and making faces. And I finally said, "Are you hurt?" And he said, "Arthritis."
Oh.
And I was like, oh, poor guy. And he had his wife do most of the tire change, and then he fixed the flat. And then while she's putting the tire back on, he says, "You got these tires from Walmart."
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this guy's really getting talkative. And
Really opening up.
and I know, oh, we're getting deep. And I said, yes, I did. And he said, I can save you about 80% next time you buy tires, which looks like it needs to be in about 3 months.
80%.
I said, 80%?
Wow.
He said, yep, 80%. I'll give you the price. You take it to Walmart and you check the price. I'm telling you right now, I'll save you 80%. You come here and you send your friends here. I will get you the best price. I said, thank you. And I drove away and he sold me. He sold me.
So you're
I
gonna
live
come
in Tulsa. I live an hour and a half away, and I'm going to drive
Yeah.
there to get tires for 80% off. TNT's
It's
where it's
worth
at.
it. TNT is where it's at.
What he saves on words, he passes on.
He passes on the savings.
People don't know this, but you're charged per word count at the end of every day if you own a business. He's passing the savings on to you.
He looked at me. He said, I can also save you 80% off words. I said, oh, I believe you.
I noticed.
Thanks, TNT.
All right. Well, that's our 5-star review.
Thanks,
Thank you,
TNT.
TNT Tires. All right, guys, let's get into the final review this week. And I'm going to do my best on this, guys, but I can't promise anything because I basically have my tongue is a gigantic wet wash rag right now.
This is if you were trying to climb a water tower with a broken arm.
With a broken arm, yes, yes. With a can of spray paint in your hand to put the proper curse words up there.
Right.
Here's what we're going to do for my review this week. You might think they're dumb Or maybe they're boring. There's fish that can fly and bees that are swarming. We'll tell them to you, even if they are corny. It's the crazy animal stories. That's right. It's the crazy animal stories.
Crazy animal stories. Woo! Awesome. I really get into
Stellar,
that.
without a hitch. Oh, love it. Yeah.
Thanks. I can't believe that it worked.
Good job. You flapped that tongue just the right time.
This is where we tell a crazy animal story, one per person. And let's start with Wopsle for this segment. Wopsle, what is your crazy animal story?
Well, this is personally my favorite segment for two reasons. Number one, because I love the intro song so much. But also number two, I just get to really dig through some of my childhood memories about animals and figure out what in the crap was really going on. So this is going to be one of those. This is going to be one of those. So when I was younger, as every parent does, they get weak at some point and they let their kids talk them into getting a hamster. And I pulled this ruse on our mother. I'm assuming I was about 8 to 10. I think you were just starting college, so it was somewhere around 1990-ish, something like that.
Yeah.
And I got 2 hamsters. Do you guys recall these 2 hamsters that I got that lived together in a cage?
No.
I recall them, but I don't remember their names.
Well, that's the biggest question I have. I have 2 big questions. The first big question I have with these guys is, when we started, there were 2. Now, spoiler alert, there's not 2 for long. But when we started, there were 2, and I don't remember the other one's name. But the one that survived, his name was Eggs Over My Hammy.
Yes.
You guys remember this pet?
Yes.
There's 2 equally buck wild scenarios. Either 10-year-old Wopsle made the decision to name his hamster after a dish at Denny's called Eggs Over My Hammy, which how would I have even known that? I have no idea. So that's pretty buck wild. And then the other
what's
option.
the second scenario? Yeah.
The second scenario is that someone else in my family convinced me to name my hamster after a Denny's plate.
Now, I will say this. I kind of could see me doing that too.
Well,
I can definitely.
That's the funnier option, so let's go with that.
Well,
it was just a big ruse.
They're both pretty crazy, but there's no way I came up with them myself. And I feel like at some point, Mom would have stepped in and said, "Hey, let's not name your hamster that, Eggs Over My Hammy." But no one stepped in and kept me from it.
No, I think that mom loved it when we did crazy, stupid things like that, silly things.
You're right.
She liked it. She loved how we entertained her. But I do remember this. Okay.
Yeah.
I totally forgot until you said that. But we went to Denny's when I was in college. Well, y'all came up there.
Okay.
And we went out to eat, and you saw that on the menu, and that actually was one of my favorite. I didn't eat that, but I loved seeing that on the menu because I just thought it was so funny.
Uh-huh.
And so we talked about it at the restaurant. And then the next thing I know, that's what you named your hamster.
Okay.
Ow. And no one talked me out of it. No one thought to be like, Roscoe is a great hamster name. And I was like, no.
No, that's terrible.
Catfish. I would have named him Catfish.
Now, I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you call him Eggs? Did you call him Hammy? What did you call him? Did you call him Eggs Over My Hammy every time?
Well, when he was in trouble, he definitely got called the full Eggs Over My Hammy.
Yes.
I do think I called him Hammy for short. But speaking of him getting in trouble, one day I come home from school. And this is, I had a dog when I was 5. You guys remember Brownie? And Brownie didn't make it long. He got hit by a car. And so this Eggs Over My Hammy and his friend were my second pet ever in my whole life. So I named them a weird name, but still they're my pets. And I come home from school one day and go to check. And Eggs Over My Hammy had killed the other hamster by just total consumption of his head.
I was
His
going to
head, yeah.
ask you that.
And it was just
that
a,
was the
a
one.
body, and it
Yeah.
just didn't have a head anymore. And it was bloody and gory and terrible. And I'm like, eggs over my
Yes.
hammy. How could you? And looking back, that whole scene must have been so hilarious. Because of the name and the sad little whoppy. But do you guys remember
Aw.
eggs over my hammy eating the other one's head?
No.
Yes, I do remember that. Only for some reason in my mind, I thought it was the other way around. I thought he left the head, but I think I'm getting that conflated with what my cat did. So yes, I do remember that. But I think I just heard it after the fact. I think I heard about it. I wasn't there for it.
And so then I just remember here I am, little Wopsle, obviously being left to make decisions that I shouldn't be in charge of already up to this point. And I remember thinking, like, what do I do with this hamster? Does he get in trouble? Like, does he go to jail? I don't know what to do.
Can I still be friends with him?
Right. Is he going to eat my head? I don't know the things with these hamsters. And so I also really don't know what happened with this hamster. I think that we let it go in the yard because I was like, well, if this guy's murdering people, I don't want him in my house.
Okay, I will say this. My only recollection of any of this is that I had a trumpet in my hand, a cornet.
What? How does this story start with this?
I know, right? This is not where you thought I was going to go.
No.
And I played taps while we buried a hamster.
Okay.
That's all I know.
You know, now that you mentioned that, Tone, I think I remember writing eggs over my hammy on a matchbox. I remember that.
So I think it was eggs over my hammy that when he passed, so you didn't release him, you kept him until he died, and I played taps at his funeral.
Oh my gosh.
We're not a weird family at all, are we?
So weird. That's so weird in all the ways.
I have to add a little factoid that's going to ruin your day because the actual name of the dish at Denny's was Moons Over My Hammy.
Moons over my hammy.
So I
right.
don't know if you called him Eggs Over My Hammy or if you called him Moons Over My Hammy and just forgot. But I think we were calling him Eggs Over My Hammy.
I think so
that we
too.
were. Yeah,
I
because I think I always get that mixed up.
I don't live a lot of my life with certainty, but I will stake everything I own on the fact that hamster's name was Eggs Over My Hammy. I am so certain.
I think so. Yeah, I think
believe
that's
you.
why it stuck in my head
Because
that
the
way.
absurdity of it so quickly hit me at a young age. Why did they let me do that?
Do you know what, though? Now I'm really, really wondering what the other hamster's name was, because if you named Hammy after an item on the menu, would you have named him the other one Denver Scramble? Or, you know,
Right.
like bacon cheeseburger? What?
Smothered, covered, and slathered. Yeah.
Denver Scrambled sounds like a country singer.
Old Denver.
Here's one. Everyday Value Slam. Could you have named him that?
Yeah, I don't remember his name. I actually think it was something normal. He was
Bob.
He was Carlos. Yeah, something.
He was Carlos.
Yeah.
And Eggs Over My Hammy.
So I think the crazy part of that story is either that I named him Eggs Over My Hammy or that he ate his roommate's head off.
I think that's the crazy part.
It's both pretty
Wopsle.
crazy. Both pretty crazy.
So I'm still like hooked on the eating of the head. How did that happen? Did he kill him first? Did he strangle him and then eat his head? Or did he just start munching? And why didn't the other one stop him? How did this happen? Did he die of natural causes?
Yeah, don't eat my head, bro.
Why didn't he stop him? Well, a little nibble never hurt anybody, you know?
How did that happen?
Well, let's move on to Shishi's crazy animal. Oh, I bit my tongue.
No.
Oh, man. Okay, let's move on to Sherry's crazy animal story.
My crazy animal story is about an insect, not specifically an animal, but we lived out in the country, and I had many small trees around my house, including like little mulberry trees that size, and I also had a clothesline out there. And so one night I forgot to get my clothes off the line, so I walk out just confidently across the yard. There's moonlight, but not a lot. So I can, I know I'm going right over there. I'm going to get that stuff and I'm going to come in. No big deal. And I run into a spider web.
No.
It was one. I know. So it was a cross between trees, and it was one of those orb weaver spiders. Don't know if you've ever seen one of those, but if you put your finger and thumb together in an OK sign, they're about the size of that with their legs and everything. They're about the size of your O with your hand. So they are quite sizable. They are terrifying to look at. And they make these giant webs with the little squiggly in the middle. So that's how you know what you're looking at. Okay, so I'm like, there's probably a spider on me. And so I brush everything off. I think I'm okay. I continue on, get my laundry down. I turn around and run straight into another one.
Oh, no.
Guys, it was Fright Night out there. They were everywhere, and I couldn't see them in the dim light. And I was terrified to walk in any direction.
Yes.
They were everywhere. Oh, my gosh. You should have seen me.
That's
I went inside
scary.
when I finally got back inside. I mean, it took a long time to get back in because I was like looking.
Yeah.
I come around. Okay, so the reason I say Fright Night is because there's a scene in that movie, I don't know if you've ever seen this, where the main character is like turning around and trying to go through a door, and he sees himself in a mirror and he gets surprised, and then he turns around and he sees himself again and gets surprised. And he just does that over and over and over again.
Funny.
That's what I was doing. That
Back
I
and
was
forth,
turning
spider
around.
webs.
There's a spider. Turn around. No, I can't go that way. So it was like funhouse mirrors with spider webs. It was
That is
terrifying.
great.
I made it back in, stripped off my clothes, made sure I had no spiders on me, made Richard check my hair, and then I was okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. So you did not have a spider on you. You got so lucky.
No, well, I think I might have had a spider on me while I was still outside, but I brushed it off with my hand. Like I felt it as I was brushing off. So it was on my body.
Man, and spiders are the worst.
Ooh. They're always coming at me in some way. I always have spiders coming at me. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I hate it so bad. That's a good animal story. Oh,
Everybody's
and they
got
were
the
crazy.
You just gave everyone the heebie-jeebies. So well
I
done.
was crazy.
Right.
I was the crazy
Everyone.
animal in this story.
Right. You had the same look on your face as the donkey had while we were chasing it down the road.
Yes.
The crazy eyes.
And those spiders were saying to each other, if she goes this way, I swear to God. I swear.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. Well, so for my crazy animal story, I was about 12 years old, 12 or 13, and we were living, of course, out in the country. And I'm playing Nintendo, which at the time was the big thing in the world to do. It was the heyday of Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And so I'm playing Nintendo, which I did a lot, and it always made my stepdad, Bobby, upset. He was always like, y'all kids in there just playing Nintendo all day, and he didn't like it. And so he comes and says, I'm going fishing, and I need bait. And so you and I are going to go, it's called seine. Now, a seine is a type of net, and you seine for bait. And so that is where you drag a net across a pond or something like that. And I just bit my tongue.
Oh,
and
no.
you drag a net across the bottom of a pond, and you pull up like little fish and little things that you can use as fishing bait. So he said, you're going to come with me right now. We're going to get in this nasty pond that we had built that was all disgusting. And he said, you're going to help me seine for bait, and then I'm going to go fishing.
I always call that pond Copperhead Pond, because every single time I looked in there were like 7 or 8 copperheads just swimming, looking, waiting, ready to pounce.
Everyone knew that there were water moccasins, copperheads, whatever you want to call them, all up in that pond.
They loved it.
And it was there was no water running in or out of the pond, so it became stagnant really bad.
That's a gross pond, y'all.
Yeah. So we have this this net with a piece of PVC pipe on each end, and we each have a pipe in hand, and we go into the water, and we get about waist. My tongue.
Oh.
We get about waist deep, and Bobby says, my stepdad says, saw a couple of water moccasins in here the other day.
Yes, he did.
And I was, of course, very much not happy about that. I said, then why are we in here? Why are we in here? And so we come up with the other side of the pond with the net, and there is no small fish. There are no snails. There is no bait unless you count the water moccasin snake that is in the net as bait. That's the only thing we caught.
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
So he immediately, I think he says something like multi-millions or something like, I don't remember what it was, but he twists the snake inside the net and then grabs a stick and beats the snake to death. And I think to myself, we just dodged a bullet the size of Texas. I can't believe that was so close. Wow. And I start to walk back toward the house. He says, hey, we didn't get any bait.
If he wasn't concerned about the 2 water moccasins, well, now there's one less. So it's fine.
Yeah, gets better. Yeah. And so he makes me, because he's the adult and I'm only 13, and he makes me go back in, and we seine the bottom of that pond 2 more times. We see 3 additional water moccasins swimming in the pond, and we don't catch any more, but we see 3 more.
Well, you know they're more afraid of you than you are of them.
Nope.
Right.
Absolutely no choice. No chance.
But you know what I'm taking away from that story that you're telling me? Do you know what one of my favorite things about Bobby was? It was that he took me to seine in ponds. I
really
loved it. I especially thought it was fun when we ran into a snag and had to improvise, like when the pond got a little too deep for me because I was a little too short. Since I was like, I don't know, 15. And we had to swim while dragging the pipes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And man, we got crawdads. I loved getting those crawdads. That was a highlight of my teenage years, was seining ponds with Bobby. And if he had told me there were water moccasins in there, if he wasn't scared, I wasn't going to be scared. It was fine.
Wow. Well, we did not have the same childhood experience,
No,
my
we
my friend.
I don't know. I think it's because I was dumber. I think it's because I didn't have the imagination to know what would happen. Oh, that water moccasin's not going to bite me. Well, now I see, yes, it could have, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Bobby wasn't exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer either.
No.
So I don't know why you were putting all of your eggs in his basket, because he was a beautiful man, though. He was an amazing person, and maybe the funniest person ever to walk the earth. He was incredible. He's not with us anymore, but Bobby, our stepdad Bobby, was amazing.
Yeah. He was one of a kind, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Quite the character, for sure.
Well, that's going to be it for Crazy Animal Stories this week. Let me try this one more time. You might think they're fun, or maybe they're boring. There's fish that can fly and bees that are swarming. We'll tell them to you. Oh, I messed it up.
So
Yeah.
We'll tell them to you, even if they are boring. It's the Crazy Animal Stories. That's right. It's the Crazy Animal Stories. Oh, man. I almost got through it twice. I can't believe
It was
it.
a good run the second time. I thought you had.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for us this week, everyone. We really appreciate you spending some time with us.
That's right. We would love some more listener suggestions for reviews in the future. So just like Amy sent one for this episode, you could be our next star on our podcast. You can send those to us on any social media platform or email us at reviews@kick.cool.
And we want to thank TNT Tires for sponsoring us this week. Also, we want to thank everyone who entered the contest to get the Kick the Cool mug that was on social media. And we do have, out of all the people who entered, we do have the winner of the contest is officially Sarah Ellis. Sarah, thank you so much for participating, and thank you to everyone who participated in the giveaway. Now, Sarah, just contact us on social media with your contact information, and we'll get you taken care of. We also want to give a big thank you to the band Bugs for letting us use the song Reviews as our theme song. So please go like their Facebook page and buy some of their music online. Thank you very much, Bugs, for letting us use your song.
Hey, what's going to happen when someone goes into TNT Tires and says, yeah, we heard about you on this podcast we listened to?
Do you think anybody in Seminole's listening to us? No.
No, not even close.
We've got some Shawnee connections. I bet there's some Shawnee people listening that might drive on down.
For 80% off, I bet you they will.
They would. Whoops.
If you swing by TNT, be sure and tell him Kick the Cool sent you.
That's right.
Yeah, for that 80% off deal. All right. Well, be sure and follow us on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Kick the Cool. We are on fire on social media lately. So just come on over and join in the fun.
That's right. And we really appreciate you listening to us, guys. I'm Tone.
I'm Wop.
I'm Shishi.
And we'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.
Love you.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Hey, I just want everybody to know that this is the best I can do. And I really tried really hard. I didn't know, but it's probably like somebody on Bob's Burger.
On an old television. Beside an old DVD player.
Cake cool.
Last week on the podcast, you said, guys, I do not have acid reflux in my butt. So I don't know that we're controlling anything right now.
Great lines in Kick the Cool history.
Right.